offense in the end. I came on here, I spewed, I will admit, some propaganda because I got a little too excited, but still, this Patriots offense was led by Stephon Diggs off an ACL tear and possibly being out next season because we don't know what's going on off the field. Yeah, and then yes, Matt Collins, terrible. Yeah, terrible. Matt Collins, he was a guy who was a wide receiver 4 on the Bills who didn't have a wide receiver 1, 2, or 3. He was somehow all the way down the depth chart. And then you got Demario Douglas, a 6th-round pick. It's tough. Keyshawn Boutte, a guy who had gambling allegations, who's finally bouncing back. I really like Boutte, so I'm not even going to try to pretend there. I really like Boutte, but still, he was not expected to be a number 2 wide receiver, is my point. And when you ask Keyshawn Boutte, what changed your career? Why are you having a breakout year? He said it was Drake May. Mm-hmm. I don't think either of you are even going to try making the argument that Drake May was the reason the team lost this game.
I was going to make the argument that with the core of Drake May and Mike Vrabel and I believe a good amount of cap space that you guys have, $35 million, you guys are fine. Because you bring up, the wide receivers, the entire roster has a lot of things to get better on. And the fact that you guys were able to make it to a Super Bowl with, you would admit, a average roster.
Yeah, I would say it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to be a wild card round.
If we look at how we were viewing this team at the beginning of the season, this is an average roster with a below average offensive line and average wide receiver.
And you had nearly
I agree on that. Yeah.
Nearly an MVP quarterback and the coach of the year pull your guys up to a Super Bowl. So if you guys are able to build around your roster, which you've been able to do that countless times, especially with when Tom was quarterback. Mm-hmm. You guys will be fine. You guys will be back. Yeah. Drake, I'm not worried about Drake May.
I was going to say, it's clear these guys can buy you at least 5 to 6 wins. I mean, we were talking about this team as a 8 to 9 win team, and they ended up winning 17 games. At least 5 of those come from Vrabel and Drake May combined. So if you're going to get that every season from those two, especially knowing how consistent Mike Vrabel is as a head coach, you're going to be just fine. And like I said, it's another year to rebuild. The fact that this was your first year with Mike Vrabel as head coach is nothing short to be, upset about. Like, it is sad how it ended, unfortunately, but looking at the grand scheme of things, I can't think of a better first year for a head coach than what Mike Vrabel just had with this Patriots team. And clearly, we all knew this was going to be a great fit. Obviously, former Patriot, played with Bill Belichick, sort of knows how to use that Belichick way, but not as to the extent that Belichick sort of did, and it sort of gives players a little bit more comfortability, it feels like, in terms of how they are throughout the locker room. And, this guy's clearly one of the best coaches in the NFL.
What's good for him is he doesn't want to be like Gerard Mayo, where he's trying to copy Belichick completely. Mm-hmm. He's his own guy who's coming from the Belichick tree, so he has traits on him, but he's not trying to copy him. I appreciate the positivity from both of you, for sure. Yeah, it was not expected to be a Super Bowl this year, so no matter what, can't be mad about it. Yeah, I think the big dialogue that it brings up, you guys mentioned the quarterback development earlier, how franchises get up on quarterbacks too early and people blame the QB instead of the franchise too much, and I agree completely with that. That was a good point. But also, it brings up the fact of how much injury luck matters, especially in the playoffs. 49ers probably would have had a couple more Super Bowls if their injuries had gone a bit better. Detroit Lions, you guys saw it for the last couple of years. Yep. Seems like anytime you're in a position to win, your safety goes down, your corner goes down, number 1 wide receiver goes down.
Kirby Joseph literally might not play football again because of a knee injury, which is insane. But it is true. Like, injury luck is a huge factor when it comes to a lot of these Super Bowls.
Patriots overall pretty healthy this year. Will Campbell, yes, he was out for a bit. He came back. Matt Collins, he was out for a bit. He came back in the AFC Championship. So you really have to look at injuries. That's a big part of it. Bo Nix's injury changed the whole playoff landscape. It's all about just having injury luck. That's really what comes down 9% of the time. What I'm scared about is obviously people saw Joe Burrow's second year in the league. I'm not going to say that's similar, but there are some similarities. I'm just really hoping that the Patriots franchise can be better than the Bengals franchise at improving the team around him. And I trust that they can, because you're looking at the Bengals, one of the worst teams in the league for countless centuries. There are countless decades at this point. Yeah,
and I'm not worried about Robert Kraft not wanting to spend money to field a good team around Drake May. That is what the Bengals. That's just been the Bengal way for decades and decades. Is just spend as little as possible.
Makes no sense. You get to the Super Bowl, you get so close, and then spend no money on
just do nothing about it. I don't think Robert Kraft has that problem, especially as now he's getting older. He's probably going to want to see one more before
the inevitable.
Yeah.
I will say I am happy about that. It's very different than, like we were saying a second ago. At least Patriots franchise aren't the Browns. They're not the Bengals. They're not the Jets for sure. So there's some hope for the future still. It's just so sad. I wish I wasn't wearing this clown makeup. I wish I was in here dressed as a king right now.
I know you mentioned last show, our Super Bowl show, about how like you felt like you guys had not really much to lose, which was completely true because of everything that we've been talking about. But a Super Bowl loss will never not sting.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you're on the doorstep of eternity, being remembered, immortalized. Yeah, genuinely, and you don't get it. You don't get inside. You're stuck on the outside. All those highlight videos that got me so hyped for months are now kind of sad to watch.
I know.
I was posting a couple of them. It took me till Thursday to post one after the Super Bowl to rebound from it, but there's some videos that it's heartbreaking. There's like an Elton John song in the background of one, and it's all the clips from the year. It's heartbreaking. I'm getting sad now thinking about it. But no. Either way, I'm happy that we had the journey. This is the first time, I think, in green and white history, Lions have never made the Super Bowl.
No.
Should be first time ever that the host of green and white had a Super Bowl team.
Yes.
At least.
And that's,
I can't think
the Colts weren't making the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Unless Mike Valeni was hosting around this time, but I don't even think he might have been too old for 07 and 11.
The lineage of green and white hosts, I'm not super kept up on, but from what I understand, yes, this is the first time we've really even a co-host has got like close.
Yeah,
it should be. Matt Merrifield have had to be there like 2011 or something if you want to call it. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, not 2011, but you know what I mean. Going back to a long time. Yeah. Yes, and now I'm dressed at a discount Pennywise. It's too bad. Half of the stuff got a lot. There's so much coming in the mail is what sucks. I spent genuine money on this. That's why I'm doing it for the crunch time. Is I want this to be.
You gotta show it off at least.
Yeah, there were some fake outs planned. There's a lot of stuff planned.
Show what you spent.
Yeah, then USPS they messed me up.
So crazy, dude. So unfortunate.
I will say a couple things for the Super Bowl. I didn't like the way a certain few things were handled. The Gatorade. What is up with showing the Gatorade before?
They showed the color beforehand.
What's up?
Glad you brought this up.
That's the worst part of betting.
Can
what are we
just
doing?
Bet on that?
Yeah.
Like, was that just free? Was that just open, or was it closed?
I saw something. I think where
beforehand?
one book had it open still. I think one still had it open when they showed it for like 10 seconds. So if anybody loaded it up, I believe so. Yeah,
this is crazy.
Crazy.
And Oscar, there was no less probably than 1 million people that had a slip that included or was just exclusively about the color of the Gatorade.
When I tell you guys, my roommates went wild for the coin toss. I have never felt
Tails never
more,
fails.
We were all wrong.
That's what I was saying. I was like, tails
us.
never fails, you guys. They all bet heads. They all bet heads. They all bet heads. And you know what? Also, why are we betting on the coin toss? And the fact that they were advertising the hell out of that too, by the way, on the Super Bowl, showing the coin, like showing the whole the whole animation thing. Y'all know what you're doing.
It's really weird to see, right? Yeah,
Come on, you know what you're doing.
Just a little dystopian. No?
Yeah, it makes it.
Is, bro.
And then the odds they offer it at are like minus 105. So no matter what,
it makes no sense.
Yeah,
it's all even.
If it's not plus 100 both sides, there's no reason.
Nope.
Maybe even throw in the bet if it lands perfectly on its side, then you get plus 1,000 or something.
Electric.
I know. You can imagine seeing that get stuck in the turf.
And unfortunately, you didn't have any commercials to like, take your mind off of it either.
None of us are the yay sports ball people, so we can talk about legitimately though. The commercial's terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah. None of us are watching for the commercials, but sometimes that at least is like, I'm couple beverages deep at this point. That one's pretty good, but no, it's all AI. Tim kept saying it's all slop. It's terrible.
It is all slop. Did you guys see the Ring one? Like the Ring camera?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yo, you want to find your dog? Just hook up a camera that we can use 24/7 right up to your door.
Yeah, that was crazy. But
like facial
for
identification.
finding your dog. Just finding your dog. That's all we want to do is find your dog.
Super Bowl commercials might be dead.
I think so.
Sure.
They might be done. But
Super Bowl 60 might have killed.
What's not dead is the halftime
genre.
show. That was great.
Bad Benito, baby.
Is where like on Instagram it'll auto-translate videos. I had that pop up, and I didn't know what it was at first. It's really weird to listen to because like it's just a robot pretty much reading what you say. It's really weird. But
I hate that.
Yeah, not a fan.
If you listen to it in English, though, like it's so impressive that it rhymes in Spanish, but it also kind of like sounds really good in English too.
Yeah.
His rapping, like
I was reading
really
the lyrics
impressive.
in English, and it makes more sense. It wasn't bad. It was a good halftime show.
It was a great halftime show.
It was crazy. They built that set. I will say that was insane.
Oh my god!
In fact,
paying 70 people to dress up as
trees,
and bushes. They all got paid $1,000 for the entire experience.
Dude, I'll take it.
Yeah, that was great. And then it was like all these famous people were like Cardi B was in it, and Pedro Pascal was in it.
Yeah.
It was a great time. Even
Jessica
though like
Alba.
Yeah.
That was exciting. Best part of the halftime show was seeing Jessica Alba. Best part.
That crazy, dude. But I couldn't believe that the set was people after. That's what blew my mind.
I know.
I had no idea about that. Also, we're not going to dive any deeper besides this base level comment on anyone who makes a Super Bowl halftime show political. What are you doing? Come on.
What are you doing?
Do something better.
What
Just
are you
watch
doing,
football.
man?
Watch the music. Come on. None of it needs to be there.
My beer.
Yeah.
Catch my fish.
Yeah, crazy.
We can all do that in 2026. I'm sorry, you're allowed to. It's
Insane.
okay, man.
We're going to move on, but we just had to say that because, yes, that is a crazy thing to do. But, yes, either way, the Super Bowl's done. I have worn the clown makeup. It's
No
the
more
final
football.
result is solid, yes. Now, looking towards the future, who has the number one pick this year? I'm blanking on it right now.
Raiders.
What am I talking about? I obviously knew. I've been so locked in about just the Super Bowl. Yeah, obviously Mendoza's good. Yeah, Brady was scouting him at the game.
Really
What am I
the
talking
first
about?
pick is the Jets because that's the first pick that we
With
don't
intrigue.
really know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think I know what's going to happen.
Well, I feel like if Dante Moore had declared,
It
it's
would be
obvious.
Dante.
It
Moore,
would have been, yeah.
And now we're
Yeah.
still going QB.
No, it'll be
No,
one of the edge rushers. It'll be Arvell Reese, who's kind of like a hybrid linebacker edge rusher from Ohio
love
State. It'd be Reuben
Arvell.
Bain, who's just a truck of a human being for Miami, or it'd be David Bailey from Texas Tech. I think it'd be one of those guys going to New York.
Well, the thing now, especially with the Super Bowl, Reuben Bain has the same, this is going to come up during the combine. It's going to be a Will Campbell thing. He has short arms.
Really? Okay.
Apparently he has short arms. And, obviously seeing how that whole thing transpired in the Super Bowl, not saying it was because Will Campbell had short arms, he was giving up 11 pressures. That's not why whatsoever.
Just getting bullied.
Yeah, he
the
was just getting
videos
bullied.
were rough.
But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously, it's quite different roles, offensive tackle and defensive edge. But I would be interested to see if that plays out the same way it did for Will Campbell, because I just don't know. I don't understand it, really. I mean, I guess I understand it for a tackle. I don't really understand it
I was
going to
say
edge.
it matters more for a tackle than it matters for a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
The idea would be that if he were to line up on the edge, Reuben Bain, he wouldn't have the arm length to be able to get a point of leverage on the tackle. But if you moved him inside where they have shorter arms, the guards and the centers, that leverage battle would be okay. And if you want to talk about the pound for pound strongest person in the entire draft class, it's Reuben Bain. He packs a punch, and that's why I don't even think the arm. You know who also had questions about his arm length? Aaron Donald. How did that work out?
That's a good point. Yeah.
He was
that
called
work out?
small for his
Not comparing
for his
Reuben Bain to
position.
Aaron Donald, but we're just showing when it comes to defensive
still.
linemen, arm length isn't the end all be all.
Yeah.
His problem was height too. He was like 6 feet flat, right?
He was small. I mean, he was theoretically small for the position, but the
short for the
fact,
position.
but the fact that he was insanely strong and just so fast, like he dominated every interior guy.
The workout videos where people are like passing out trying to keep up with them are always just crazy. Yeah,
Bro, he almost put Jared Verse in a grave, dude. Like Jared Verse, defensive rookie of the year, almost put him in a grave, and he's retired right now. Like that's ridiculous.
Crazy. Yeah, we'll touch on our final thoughts for the Super Bowl. Then we're gonna go into a quick break. We'll come back with some men's basketball talk. Sad news all around. I have not smiled in a week. It's been rough. Yeah.
Boy.
Ever since Illinois. Illinois was the saving grace, and then everything else has been pain. Yeah, gut punch
Friday
after
night
gut punch. Yeah. Not good.
Wow.
But we'll talk about it after the break. A couple final thoughts from me. I would have loved to see the Patriots open the playbook before the fourth quarter. Every single time. You look at the fourth quarter of that game, some great play calling. Before that, awful. That touchdown to Mac Hollins. Where's that call earlier? Hey, to get a first down even. We had 3 and out so many times.
Any designed quarterback run?
Any design quarterback
anything
run.
where you get Drake May out of the pocket and moving.
That was really surprising, because that's what we said they had to do if
Yeah.
they wanted to
And
run
they
the
had
football
to do
against
it.
the Seattle defense, and they did have to do it. My thing is, I just don't think they were able to, because of like what we talked about with this receiving core in comparison to the Seattle secondary. Hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby.
I know.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it is,
It's
yeah.
hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby.
No, I
Like,
agree. But what I would like to see, try combating that quick pass.
That's true. That's fair.
If you had just tried getting like 3-4 yards each play, maybe you have a first down. And you don't even if there's 5 first downs in the first half, no scores, you don't even get a field goal. At least you have those 5 first downs to look back on. There was 2, I think. There was nothing. The first half was putrid. as I said, though, I did not give up hope until that pick over the middle. And what sucks, and that one play is one of the reasons I think Drake may have had the shoulder injury, or it's purely the internal clock, like you were saying earlier. Just he had a guy open. If he had thrown it either a second earlier or a second later, threw it at the worst time possible, worst spot possible. But still, second-year QB. Don't listen to anyone online throwing around that stat about second-year QBs who lose in the Super Bowl have never made it back. I think it's just Burrow at this point.
It is just Joe Burrow.
Yeah, so anybody who's I'm going to be honest. I think I'm taking a long break from Twitter. The people on there, yeah.
You should.
It is the worst people who have ever existed.
Well, no,
and
they're
He'll
not
be
people.
okay,
It's
guys.
it's all bots. It's all robots.
The worst
AI.
bots you thought of.
It's like in that Superman movie when they show the monkeys just typing on the computer. Like, that's exactly what the
The
chimpanzees.
rage monkeys.
Yeah, dude. Bro, but no.
That was so funny.
It's terrible when everything you look at. I'm again. I'll say
It's
this and
just
I'll
rage
move on. Yeah,
bait.
but yeah, every single thing is just trashing on everything you like every single time. Nothing
Everything
can be
sucks.
happy. Yeah,
Nothing's cool.
It's insane. Can you take a break from social media for one day and you realize, oh, maybe life isn't dying. Maybe
not
jobs
that
aren't that bad. Yeah, maybe I can actually be fine in the future. Everything isn't collapsing.
What sucks though is Twitter is so ingrained with our line of work.
That's what's terrible.
In our
Yeah,
line
you
of
want to
field.
follow up on sports? You want to keep up on everything?
Gotta
Yeah.
keep it on. Gotta keep it on your phone.
Yeah, and you want.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. This is the last thing I'll say before we move on. I'll give you guys your final thoughts on the Super Bowl. But last thing, this is a great point I heard about social media. Imagine going on the train, the subway in New York, and everything the crazy guy in the corner of the train is yelling, you take as fact. That's what social media is. You got no idea who these people are. It can be insane people. Yeah. It's crazy.
So real.
It changed my entire outlook on it after hearing that. It's crazy.
I love
and
that.
I get that you are all hearing this from a man dressed as a clown right now, but this is legitimate. Jack David, Oscar, either of you guys want to give your thoughts?
At least for the thoughts with the Super Bowl, I agree with your thoughts with at least the game plan for the Patriots. I don't understand it. Obviously, Josh McDaniels just won Assistant Coach of the Year, but I don't know what he was doing or what the play calls or what he was trying to do. It felt like he was calling those plays a little scared.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he knew about the Drake May shoulder injury and he was trying to be conservative that way, but for the Patriots side, they're going to be okay. You got Drake May, who very well could be, give it like 7 years from now, and some of the top quarterbacks cycle out, could be a top 3, maybe even the best quarterback in the entire league. That's the talent that you're looking at here. And you have Mike Vrabel, who, when it comes to coaches, is relatively young. He's got a lot left in the tank, and you can see that when he coaches. So I'm not worried about the Patriots. I am worried about, luckily for you and I, Joe, they're not in our conference.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Seattle because that D word that I was talking about could be brewing if they can figure out what, if they can bring some longevity into this. Sam Darnold's not that old, guys. No. He's 28, 29. So he's got like a good section of prime left, and everything around him is just there for the taking. So both teams will be back. It was a fun Super Bowl. Sad to see the NFL go, but yeah.
I think the Seahawks, it's funny for them. They got forced to play Kenneth Walker, and they win Super Bowl MVP.
One of the greatest.
Forced to play Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
a crazy
Insane,
statement, by
right?
the way.
But everyone all year is like, when are they going to trust K9 to
Exactly.
carry the load? Charbonnet keeps getting it over and over. Jack David, did you have a point to make?
I was going to say, with K9, like, he had one of the greatest postseason runs for any running back ever. He completely changed. I would say, I think I could say this. If Charbonnet doesn't get hurt, I don't know if they beat L.A.
Genuinely,
That's
yeah.
good. That's
I
a
think
great
crazy.
point.
Yeah.
I think K9, not single-handedly, but I think K9 was the deciding factor in them winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I
the
truly
catalyst,
think
yeah.
it, and God, I love that he's a Spartan.
Oh, I know.
Gotta love it.
What a great weekend that was for Michigan State.
Yeah.
That week.
What a
Weekend, yes.
great weekend.
I won't lie.
That one.
Yeah.
That was peak.
Yeah.
That was so peak. Yeah, shout out K9. Really sad football's gone. Very unfortunate. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life anymore.
You can watch NASCAR. The Daytona 500 is today.
So, anyways, the Olympics is happening.
Yes, the Olympics too.
So, anyways, the Olympics is going on. So, I'm binging into that. No offense for your NASCAR take.
No, I
Sorry.
know. I was mostly joking because I know you guys don't care.
But yeah, sad football's gone. Excited to see Fernando go number 1. I can't wait to see what media tries to come up with to try to make an entrance sting to say, oh, he might not be number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, what are we going to do?
with Mendoza?
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they come up with.
I'm excited for the draft, though. You
That's a
guys
good
know how
point.
hyped up I get
Oh,
with
yeah.
the NFL draft. Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. You guys are getting Blake Miller. You guys are going to get
What was that second Utah offensive tackle? It's not
Caleb
Fanu.
Lomu. That's probably too early for him. You guys are going to get Akeem Mesidor, and I'm going to get Denzel Boston.
Bro, we need an offensive tackle, man. We need someone on the line. We need someone protecting Goff, bro. I can't do this anymore.
You think Pats are getting Blake Miller? That's your thing?
I think one of those, because there's like 6 tackles that could go in the first round.
Yeah.
One of the later guys, like a Blake Miller or like a Monroe Freeling, maybe a Caleb Lomu who could slip. I think that would be your guys' best option. That, or who would you even really want besides a tackle?
It's tough. It's weird picking at 31 again.
Maybe
Let me say, usually,
maybe a safety, but
maybe
well,
a
I
safety.
mean that could be a good time to take one.
We got pretty good safeties is the thing for the Pats.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking I was thinking that.
One
or
of them's
maybe,
a rookie too. I think they're both rookies. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hawkins. Yeah.
Yeah. So Patriots again. I think if you could just shore up that offensive line, like I think a Blake Miller absolutely can.
Yeah.
At least like the right side of the line. I think you guys are fine.
Yeah, it's outside O line, outside D line. They need like a pass rush, and then obviously receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there will be pass rushers at 31 too. That will be really interesting for you guys to take. So.
I would like Kyle Pitts on the team. I think that would be fun. I think that he could be a good one. Yeah, people have been throwing that name around. Obviously, Kyle Pitts is the king of what he could be, the hypothetical. Yeah,
but like what? Maybe if he gets in like a new environment and a fresh start,
I think he could be pretty good.
Yeah,
I agree.
Smith coaching him.
Yeah, yes, true. All right. Well, that's all we have for this segment. We're going to come back with Jack Stager's going to call in. We're going to talk some men's basketball. Bit disappointing. Very sad to see. He might have to do double clown makeup after that. Final thought for the Super Bowl. After that Illinois game, I can't lie, I kind of felt like the world was crumbling around me because it started to come up Michigan State's weekend, I was realizing. And K9, Michigan State, you said earlier, Oscar, what a weekend for the Spartans. So I played the heel all year. You guys all deserve to celebrate. So I hope that you all in your car are enjoying this pain inflicted on me today. This has been Joe Dez, Oscar Henderson, Jack David with the first segment of the Green and White Report. The first show after the Super Bowl. We'll see you on the other side of the break in only 2 minutes. Stay tuned. 2 minutes. See you on the other side.
big for Wisconsin. Obviously, we knew what was on the line with that one for us. So it was a good experience. It was a good atmosphere, and just kind of like your classic Big Ten matchup, exactly what that was supposed to be. And that one, MSU just got blitzed, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah,
That's one way to put it.
Yeah,
Blitz.
yeah, it's just real tough to see. Jack, I want to ask you, you got up close personal view. What do you think went wrong in this game? How did everything collapse? You saw a great performance versus Illinois, and then Wisconsin comes out a little, MSU comes out a little flat. The defense wasn't the same. What would you say?
Yeah, hey man, I mean, listen, sometimes people just make shots.
Yeah.
And when you have somebody like Jordan Scott who plays defensively against arguably the best freshman in the Big Ten in the last game, he's not going to be able to play like that every game. Yep. And Nick Boyd had everything that he wanted in the first half against Jordan Scott. Didn't matter if it was a step back three, didn't matter if it was a left-hand floater, didn't matter if it was a dribble pull-up jumper. He had whatever he wanted. That's just, when you have a good player like that, sometimes they just get in a mode where they can get whatever they want. And then obviously the offensive struggles are you can't shy away from those for MSU. It's clear that you need to have people on the floor that want to play defense and can turn defense into offense, because when the defense isn't making offensive opportunities, then you saw exactly what happened. You shoot 29% from three and you shoot 36% from the floor, and I think the only bright spot was that you only missed one free throw as a collective team. And you also didn't get destroyed on the glass either. Although I think 19 second chance points for Wisconsin is definitely a big reason why they were at where they were. So there was a multitude of things, in my opinion, fellas. But at the end of the day, sometimes a team gets hot. Sometimes a player gets hot, and sometimes you just don't have your best stuff. But I will say, I'll tie it up all in a bow just like this nicely for everybody. It is not March, so it is okay. And we were not going to win the Big Ten regular season this year. Hate to break it to anybody that thought we were, but we are not. So you got to kind of set expectations, and you got to look at reality and say, hey, we're not going to win the Big Ten. This loss comes better now than in 3 weeks. So you get the losses out of the way. You kind of have to be real with yourself a little bit. If Michigan wins the Big Ten, good for them, whatever. If they don't and somebody else does, good for them. But it's at the point in the season where you got to know where you're at, and you just got to keep getting better from it.
Can always win Big Ten tournament too. So there's still a lot of hope on the horizon for Nick Boyd. Jack, I think a lot of people mistakenly will think that he wasn't a known commodity at this point. This is his sixth game in a row now with over 20 points. He is a genuine scorer. I want you to talk about his performance and just what you saw from him.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, he was getting whatever he wanted, and it really started, I think, because he was getting open looks to start the game. Like, I correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in there, but I think his first 2 threes were pretty open. And for D1 college basketball players, when I say pretty open, like, even if you contest them, if you are late on your contest, that is a wide open 3-pointer. Yep. Like, you have to have a hand up by the time they catch the ball, or else they're not going to see the contest. So his first 2 3-pointers got him in rhythm. And then from there, he was obviously much quicker than Jordan Scott. When you're able to use your dribble to create space and you're already in rhythm from it, let alone the offensive scoring that he's had this season, I mean, it all went right for him, to be quite honest with you. And it was, I will say, it was, I don't know if fun is the right word to watch, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see a talented basketball player. I haven't seen anybody do that to MSU this year, really, outside of maybe Boozer in the second half against Duke. So, yeah.
It's a good point.
It was, yeah.
Good point about Boozer. Yeah, I was going to ask if you'd seen any other scoring performances like that, but Yeah, Boozer's probably the closest one.
That
He
was
was
an insane second half.
getting anything they want that second
Literally.
half. Rough. A couple more questions, Jack, before we let you go. Thank you again for spending some of your Sunday with us on this show. We really appreciate it. Jack.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah, no, of course. So I want to know, I think that people, when they don't watch the game or when they're reading box scores, they might be wondering what was going on with Jackson Kohler. Would you say it was mostly the defensive game plan against him, or is he just going through a slump on the season right now? What would your words be?
Yeah, is Timmy there this morning?
Tim is not.
Marshall?
He has abandoned me. Yeah, he said he needed a rest day after the trip.
Okay. Well, that's okay because we'll inform you. We were quite shocked of why Kohler wasn't a part of the game. Pretty much, to be quite honest with you, in the first half, he wasn't. I mean, he was MIA. He didn't score at all in the first half, and I can't remember the exact time frame that his first field goal attempt was. But he was not an offensive factor at all. And I think the first 3 possessions he got the ball, he saw an immediate double team on the block, which didn't help, I don't think. And it wasn't just your normal kind of like weak side double team. It was a full blitz double team, which means that weak side defender is going to be blitzing him every time he catches him. They're going to try to be pushing him towards the baseline and out of bounds. So I think Wisconsin was really aggressive to start the game against Kohler anytime he caught it one-on-one on the block, because they did try to go to him a couple times early, and Wisconsin kind of shut that down. But I think you still have to keep going to Kohler, and they didn't. And I think there's a couple times where he could have took a 3 in that trailer position, as you guys all know, when he's slowly coming up the floor and fears, usually gets it up screen, and then he just either drives and kicks it back out to Kohler. I thought, he could have shot those a couple more times, but it was a little bit concerning, I will say, especially, this inconsistent stretch of shooting, you could say, for Kohler. I mean, 3 for 8 against Illinois from 3, and then 1 for 4 last game against Wisconsin, and 1 for 5 against Minnesota. So in this tough stretch that we're seeing this team on right now, I think a part of that too is also Kohler, but I think part of it's also the defensive game plan. So it was a struggle for him, for sure.
Yeah, you're just reading out some great splits. It's shocking because when you watch the game, it feels like he's having a pretty decent-sized impact, and then you'll look down at the box score, you find out he hasn't actually taken that many shots at any point. I would like to see him get involved a bit more. It could just be a slump in the season. Could be, like you were talking about, them double-teaming. It's just he has become a big part of their game plan defensively, going against him defensively, if that makes sense. And Jack David, or Oscar, either of you guys have a question for Steger?
Yeah, man. I mean, this is not really the first time we've seen this team really have a struggle on the road so far this season. Over the last couple of games, especially on the road, it's been really tough for this team. Do we think this is just, I mean, it didn't really feel like they had a lot of these problems last season, and a lot of this team is carried over from last season. What do you think makes this season so different about them, facing a lot of these challenges in hostile environments in comparison to really how well they played, it felt like, on the road last year?
Yeah, it's a great, interesting situation to try to wrap your mind around, honestly, because you can't, there's so many things that you could point to from the differences of last year to this year, I think. But honestly, this year, you got to start with the schedule, right? Because your first road game in the Big Ten is against Penn State this year, and you get a 4-point win. Okay, no big deal. Respectfully, that's not really your first road game in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
and then you come home for a couple non-con games, and then you play Nebraska on the road. So that's your first true Big Ten road game. And then after that, you play. After that, I think it was
Washington and Oregon on the West Coast trip.
Yes, thank you. Yep, and then you go West Coast. So my point is you kind of had that interesting schedule where you don't get into a groove necessarily right away. And last year, to answer your question fully, Oscar, last year I think a big part of having Jace stepping into his own really towards this time last year, even before, right around that December mark last year for Jace, I think he was your guy that got you comfortable on the road. He's your guy that would give you a comfortable three to get the offense going. He's your guy that would give you a tough bucket when we go through an offensive set for 25 seconds out of the shot clock, and then Jace gives you a last-second pull-up jumper or something. And right now, it's not fears because he doesn't have the same offensive capabilities as Jace Richardson does. And to be quite honest with you, this whole season, in my opinion, I thought that was going to be Caleb Glenn. And I think the injury of Caleb Glenn right now, we're seeing this where our team for MSU maybe gelled together chemistry-wise really easily in the first couple months, which is why you saw maybe some of those non-con wins against ranked opponents like Arkansas. Even though Kentucky wasn't ranked at the time, you still beat Kentucky in the Champions Classic. So you're now starting to see everybody else, their team chemistry fully at the point where it needs to be. So they've almost caught up to MSU in that sense of team chemistry. Now it comes down to how far is your talent going to take you? And last year, when you have somebody like Jace Richardson that can take over, you don't really have that this year. And for a while, that was supposed to be, in my opinion, Caleb Glenn. I think what he would have done to this offense really would have opened it up quite a bit. And then on top of that, you add on Divine's injury. So it's a multitude of things, but mainly those injuries hurt. And being on the Big Ten on the road sucks. To be honest, it's hard.
Yeah.
So
that's where I think the biggest problem with Kohler's slump is right now. I thought by this point in the season, Kohler would be the guy to step up and get those game-winning shots or get the ball on the final couple of possessions to try scoring it. And I think you made a great point, Stayer. Caleb Glenn, he was a 40% shooter behind the arc. He was a multi-level scorer. Not having a guy like that really hurts the team. Stager, don't answer this guy. I'm pretty confident you know the answer. I'm going to make a point with this, though. It's going to connect back to you. Oscar or Jack, do you know what the team's record was on this date last season?
So they would have had, I want to say, around the same record.
I was going to say 20-5.
It's either 20-5 or like 19-6.
It was the exact same record, 20-5. It's what they have this year at this point as well. On the exact same date. Last year was a Saturday, but on February 15th, they beat Illinois. That's what changed around the season. Jack, you had a tweet that went out where you're talking about, you're just reminding from the tweet you had last year about sometimes the fan base can start expecting a little too much and start getting a little too negative at points. Jack, there's still a lot to look forward to about this team. I think that you put it perfectly on plenty of things that you've sent out or plenty of things you've said over the airwaves. This team has a lot of hope, and yes, there might be a certain ceiling that people are starting to see, but what are some positives that you see looking towards the future from this?
Just to confirm, this is for this Jack, right?
Yes, Stager, yes. Two Jacks makes it tough, yeah. I don't know if I'm supposed to say Jack Stager, Jack David.
We're also sharing the same mic, but anyways.
Yeah, it's tough.
I like it with the address of just my partner, Jack. I like the way that sounds.
Yes.
So.
My life partner, Jack. Please.
Yeah. Okay. So to answer your question, Joe, yeah, I mean, it really comes down to it because last year you saw a lot of that frustration with the West Coast trip. And then you come back from that West Coast trip and you lose to Indiana. Fan base is freaking out. Fast forward about a year or so right now to where we're at, you lose 3 out of the last 4 and 3 out of the last 5. And, you're not really where I guess the whole fan base wants you to be at. But at the point, I think that's why Michigan State for athletics is such a special place to be at, because the expectation for success is so high. But however, just because you don't succeed in a certain aspect of the season, so to speak, the Big Ten regular season title, that doesn't mean the season is over. That doesn't mean that the season doesn't have any more things to look forward to. At the end of the day, you're a top 20 team in the nation, and you got to look at what this season was. Sure, you won the Big Ten last year, but let's be honest. how many people actually thought that MSU was going to win the Big Ten title last year, let alone by 3 games? I mean, it was an unbelievable group last year. You know, we can talk about Jace Richardson until our voices hurt. But
I hope he's okay.
Yes, a rough dunk contest. Yeah, a rough dunk contest.
Tough one.
But continue, Steger.
But at the end of the day, you have to look at expectations. And right now, this team, I don't think, is at any point to win any of the regular season titles. So you just have to understand that, hey, how many ranked opponents have we beaten already this season? You look at all those good games. I mean, and when you look at this team playing its best, I mean, I still think the sky's the limit. And if anybody that doesn't think that when this team's playing its best, that they're not a high caliber team that could make it to the Elite Eight, I would love to have a conversation with that person, because I think we've seen this team at its best be able to compete with, quite frankly, anybody. So that's what keeps me alive for March, is knowing that when this team's playing its best, let alone you got Tom Izzo as your head coach, anything can happen.
Yeah, it's really true. You talk about them competing with the best. They lost by 6 to Duke. That was still a close one. The Michigan game was closer than the score really tells. They beat a top 5 team in Illinois. The whole problem this year, it seems like they will play up or play down to the exact level of their competition, it feels like. They're one of the teams that can rubber band from the top to the bottom. And, Jack, when you look at last year, they won 8 of their last 9, 7 of those being against ranked opponents. The rest of the schedule this year isn't set up like that. There's really no chance to get back that extra cred, if that makes sense, winning those games. And for 8 of those 9 games, the leading scorer is gone. It was either Jace Richardson, Jaden Akins, and then Trey Holloman for one of those, the Michigan game last year at the end of the season. I think you really got to start looking at a few guys to step up. And Steger, I would like to ask you, who would you like to step up, or who are you looking towards as the highest possibility to step up if this team is going to do well in March?
Yeah, it's a loaded question. It really is.
Very loaded. You have a minute to think if you need to. It's more of this. What supporting pieces do you think could mesh together with this team? Best case scenario. If this team's going to do well in March, what do you think, or who do you think needs to step up?
Yeah, I mean, so I hate to say it. I really do. I really do, Joe, because you've been with me all season. I've been on the train all season. I've always been on the Trey Fort train, and I'd like to say maybe I'm the founder of the Trey Fort Support Club.
Yeah, the conductor of the train.
He might be one of the last people left on the train.
the Trey Fort Support Club might be getting disbanded, my friends.
That's unfortunate.
You hit the wall.
Because we're now what? We're now 25 games in the season, and it's clear that Izzo's not going to play him because of defense. And it's almost gotten to and the reason that I know that now is because he's doing the same thing with Kurt Tang. Neither of those guys can guard, and when Kurt Tang can't guard and he has better defense than Trey Fort, then that Trey Fort's not going to get in. So as much as deep down in my heart, the club will always still be actively running and owned by myself, and I will always still, privately endorse this club. It's got to the point now where I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have, which means I think it's Cam Ward season. It has to be, because if Kohler's getting all this action that he sees on the blocks, then okay, maybe you give Kohler some opportunities to stretch the floor, and then you give Cam Ward some one-on-ones on the block. And we honestly did start to see that against Wisconsin late in the game. But I think I'd like to see them go to him a little more. I know he's a freshman. I know he's going to make mistakes, but he kind of gives you that energy spark that you need. And from the buckets that we've seen from Cam Ward, if he gets an and one, in my opinion, that's equivalent to any momentum 3 that we saw last year from those guys like Jaden Akins, like Jace Richardson. So I think you got to go to Cam Ward a little bit, and then obviously Cohen Carr is going to be a big piece offensively. He's got to develop his game a little more. I loved what we saw from him against Wisconsin. So he's got to be more of a piece too. So I think those two guys, it falls on a little more. And then that 2-guard position is just going to be a collective unit, I suppose. But mainly, of course, Jordan Scott too.
Yeah.
Those two guys with Ward and Scott.
A lot of great points, Stager. I'll break down quite a few of them. I really appreciate your breakdown throughout there. Just want to say that to start off. Cam Ward is the exact name I was really hoping to hear. His game against Illinois, you look at the stat sheet, it might not be too impressive, but he was really impactful. That going all the way across the court, that dunk, going from sideline to sideline pretty much. That got the entire stadium, really hyped up. Changed the momentum in the game. And even Izzo talked about how much him and Jordan Scott mattered to this team. If he never hurt his wrist, I think at this point in the season, he would already be an integral piece. He would already be functioning as one of the main scorers, one of the main rebounders. And I think the point you made of possibly being able to use Kohler as a three-point threat more than shoving him down low on the block, if Cam Ward can get one-on-ones down there instead, that would be great for the game plan. That is really nice. I enjoyed that. But the 2-guard, it comes back to that every time. You lost a man now. Trey Fort just has not been able to really step up, like Stager was saying a second ago. 0 of 3 in the last game. He seems like if he doesn't make his first shot, he's off. He's getting taken off because the defense hasn't been there. Tang, there's that.
We all know what he's famous for.
Yeah, there's a reason that there's a poster hung in a nursing home now. It's just hilarious. I can't lie. Very funny poster of FAYC, and Tom Izzo's mom has the poster of her crossing up Kurt Tang now, which is very funny. But yes, the fact he hit that 3 at the end of the Illinois game is the best moment of his season so far, without a doubt. But also, I think it saved him a lot of trash talk from people online, to be quite honest. Because there's points in that game where he had some really rough defensive lapses, but then he hit that 3, erased the narrative. It's tough. It's really tough to look at this and try figuring out what exactly you need to do. I think, Stager, you gave a good roadmap. I think that we can obviously trust in Tom Izzo because, if you're going to be at this point in the season, you're going to start feeling a little low. You're going to start wondering whether this team has it. I don't think I'd want anyone besides Izzo to be coaching the team to try helping them out. Jack, after the Wisconsin game, you guys were at the presser. Was there anything, this will be the last question before we let you go. I realize this segment's going a little long, but was there anything Izzo said that you think is important to share on these airwaves?
I will just say this. I think a lot of the stuff was posted. His main focus was how good Wisconsin shot the ball, and he said specifically, sometimes you just have those games where the team just plays better than you. But I will say, Izzo's mood and energy, the whole press conference, was a surprise to many of us in the room. He was very calm. He was very. He wasn't super flush in the face, which means he didn't just get done screaming, or he did, and he needed a few minutes to himself before he came to the media room. But my point is he was very calm. He didn't seem like he was super angry, which originally brought a level of concern for me. And then I realized that, hey, he obviously knows what happened, and he knows everything that Wisconsin did. So if he's not as fired up about this as maybe a different loss like Minnesota, you could say, then I think that's a good sign, because you still have things to get better from. You still have things to move on from, and the only way you'll get the answers known is in the next game. So UCLA is on the clock, but no, he was just very calm. He took any amount of time to answer anybody's question. His exact words were, "If you get beat that bad, you deserve to answer every question from the media." So,
wow, yeah,
that was a good line.
Yeah, that is really good. I gotta say, I'm happy to comment on the initial concern about him being calm. It's very rare after a loss that you see Tom Izzo fully calm down. But I like the alternative perspective. It could mean that he knows what to fix. Something cooking. We'll trust in Tom Izzo. There's a reason this guy has been on March Madness so many times. Jack Stager, thank you so much for joining. My partner on the men's basketball beat. We will be back to a regular scheduled programming with that matchup versus UCLA. Kyle Keegan stepped into my spot. I had Valentine's Day plans. I prepaid for dinner, so I could not get my refund, sadly. But still, we're going to be back to normal. UCLA, that's Tuesday. That's going to be a lot of fun. Very excited to be back with you, Jack. Make sure you tune into our broadcast at 8:30 p.m. sharp. check out Tim Marshall as well. His writing has been great. We'll talk to you soon, Stager. Anything you want to say before you go?
No, thank you, fellas. Thanks for letting me jump on, take up some time. Sorry if I talk too long, but
bro, your breakdowns are great.
Soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll see you guys soon, and thanks for letting me call in.
Anytime. Talk to you soon.
See you, Stager.
All right, take care. See you guys.
There we go. That was Jack Stager. Jack David, thank you for holding on to that phone for so long. His wrist might be sore after that one. He's done a very good job. So we're going to head into our final break. When we come back, we're going to talk women's basketball with some of the women's basketball beat. Then we're going to do a little Des Confused, and we got a little hockey preview as well. Look forward for that with Oscar. Notre Dame coming up on the weekend. Should be a lot of fun. So we'll see you on the other side of the break. You were listening to the Green and White Report on WDBM East Lansing. is joined by Oscar Anderson, Jack David. There we go. Apparently all the headphones somehow turned off during the break. But yes, I was trying to find some type of mirror lyrics that could work. We're going to go man in the mirror, I guess. So women's basketball for the Spartans, men's basketball, we were talking during the break. Mirror images of each other, 20-5. Anytime one of them loses, the other one loses. So watch this Michigan game. They're playing number 13 Michigan State, playing number 7 Michigan. They lost in overtime February 1st to them. You really got to watch. This might dictate what happens against UCLA if you're going by the way the schedule has worked. Michigan State, women's basketball loses to UCLA. A couple days later, men's basketball loses to Wisconsin. You can go throughout the whole season. I believe I did it last show, but almost all their losses are within 1 or 2 days of each other. It is crazy to see. And you want to know something insane? Robin Freilich, I brought this up last show as well. Her birthday 1 day before Tom Izzo's. A lot of funny stuff going on in the women's basketball world. Josh Lee, now joining us on the mic. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm good, Joe. How are you guys doing on this beautiful Sunday?
I'm doing pretty good. Josh, we're gonna switch this around real quick. So we originally didn't look like we're gonna have a women's broadcast today. I'm gonna talk with Josh real quick off the mic. You guys can do a hockey preview right now, and then we'll have Josh join. I think that will work the best.
Okay.
I'm realizing. So we're gonna start off the hockey team playing Notre Dame.
Yes.
Oscar Anderson on the hockey beat, a great broadcaster. Did the Duel in the D just last week, I believe. Yep. So I want to ask you, Oscar, looking into the Notre Dame series, what do you have to look out for? Is this possibly a trap series, or do those really exist in hockey?
So it's an interesting cash trend. Yes, they do exist in hockey, especially even this weekend. We just saw Boston University lose to New Hampshire. As many of you know, that was actually the first game of the season. MSU lost. So, yeah, there are definitely such things as trap series in this world of college hockey. Although Adam Nightingale doesn't usually fall to these. He is a really good coach where he takes every opponent as seriously as the next one. He does not underestimate teams. He treats every team like they are the best one coming in, and this Michigan State team always knows how to take care of business. Obviously, this Notre Dame team, last right now in the conference, just picked up their second Big Ten win, actually, over the weekend against Minnesota. Shout out to Notre Dame for getting that done. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting series. Again, as we're heading into this last half of regular season play and conference play, Michigan State has one of the easiest schedules to finish off. Obviously, they play Notre Dame this weekend, then they play Ohio State, and then they play Minnesota. Those 3 teams right now are at the bottom of the Big Ten standings currently. Bottom 3 teams. Michigan had to play Penn State this weekend. They swept them, although Penn State was able to force them into overtime, so they ended up stealing a point away. When they still have to play Wisconsin, I believe they go to there this upcoming weekend, and then still play Minnesota. So Michigan has to play 3 of the top 5 teams left in the Big Ten. So it's an easier schedule for Michigan State. This is a lesser Notre Dame team. Look for Michigan State just to continue to play their style of game. And if they continue to do that, they're going to be in really good situation here against this Notre Dame team. And it's really just focusing on finishing the season strong. If you win out, you're going to win the Big Ten regular season title. You have the control of destiny right now in terms of that. So it'll be important for them to not only win out, but just continue to play the way that they have been over the last couple of weeks. And I mean, this team is peaking, it feels like, at the right moment right now with this season.
You talk about peaking, they're now the number 1 team in the country.
Yes, number 1 team. I know we talked about this last weekend, how I was a little uncertain whether or not they would overtake Michigan for that number 1 spot. They actually did. They should keep on to that number 1 spot, even though they had the bye week. They're still number 1 in MPI right now. So, yeah, they are currently the best team in all of college hockey, and it doesn't really feel close, especially considering how that Michigan series went. It was really not close for about 110 minutes out of that 120-minute series.
Even in that first game.
Yeah, even in that first game. It took a late comeback in the final 10 minutes of the third period for Michigan to steal an extra point away from the Spartans. But even throughout that game, Michigan State was able to control it thoroughly. And then obviously in the second game, they dominated for the entire 60 minutes. So this is, I think they are clearly separating themselves as the best team in college hockey. I think that series last weekend really proves it. And if they just continue to play the way they are, if they continue to score the way they are, it's going to be really impressive. And watch out for Charlie Stramel, who is making a really late Hobie push this season. Yes. He is top 7 right now, I believe. Or excuse me, he is top 10 He's moved down a little bit. Trey's up to top 5 right now, but those two right now are making some late pushes, especially Stremel, who is about 5 points away from leading the nation in points.
Would you say it's considered rare for a goalkeeper to be that high in the Hobie Baker?
I was
rare.
thinking the same thing.
It's very rare. It is very rare.
You would think that a goalkeeper for the national player of the year would be like, but Trey Augustine is
he's just different, man. And I mean, I think I can't remember how many goalies have actually won the Hobie Baker Award. I know Michigan State is one of the very few schools, I believe, with a goaltender who has won the Hobie Baker Award. That is, of course, Ryan Miller, who did it, I believe, in 06 or 07. It was one of those years. It was either the year they won the national championship or the year before that. But yeah, they're one of the very few schools with a goaltender who has won a Hobie Baker Award. Obviously, a very long history of great goaltenders here at Michigan State. And yeah, it would be insane if Augustine's able to get this. Obviously, he's going to run away with the Mike Richter Award. That's pretty much his.
That's been locked up.
That's been locked up
year.
for the last couple of weeks, especially with Ivan Kovic suffering that injury and missing about a month of play. So he'll have that wrapped up. Now it's just going to potentially be, can he make that late push against the Plant brothers right now, both playing for UMD for that Hobie Baker Award. But it's
three
really hard.
goaltenders ever have won the Hobie Baker.
Wow.
One of them was an MSU alum, Ryan Miller. Rob Stauber in 88, and then Dryden McKay in 2022. So actually pretty recently there was a goaltender that got that. But not even to win the Hobie Baker, to be possibly nominated for the Hobie Baker is already rare in and of itself. The question I had for you, Oscar, the next 3 series, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely when you compare to some of the last series that MSU has played, a little bit,
I
don't want to say easier.
Yeah.
But especially since 2 of these series are actually going to be at home, this would be a nice, if you want to call it a cool down. I know that's not how Nightingale kind of operates, but what would you like to see this team, if there's anything, kind of work on or maybe focus on as they make the push into the latter half of the season, into the postseason, to really prime themselves for possibly a national championship?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to butter their wheels here a little bit, but this team is just so good.
It's hard to
It's hard to really think about what they need to work on specifically. One thing I've seen a lot from this team in the last couple of weekends, though, is that they have really cut down on the penalty minutes that were a really big problem for this team throughout the early points of the season. They were still, I believe they're still a top 3 team in terms of penalty minutes a game right now, but they've really cut that down over the last couple of weeks, and that's been huge. And not only them being able to control the full time of the game, not allowing odd man advantages for the other team and giving them 2 minutes of free offensive time, but it really just helps them in terms of how well they are on 5v5. This is one of the best 5v5 teams in the entire country. They play so good at even hockey. It is so hard to beat them, not only offensively, but it's hard to get through them defensively 5v5. And so as long as they can stay out of the box, stay out of odd man disadvantages, they're going to be fine. And I think they've done a really good job of lowering that penalty minutes a little bit, playing a less emotional hockey and playing less emotional hockey, I should say, as Nightingale likes to say. So want to play with emotion, not emotional. So they've been doing a really good job of that so far these last couple of weekends. And as long as they continue to do that, I think they're going to be in great shape, because that was one of their biggest issues, was they were getting on the penalty kill so much. And while it is a great penalty kill unit, they were on it so much that the numbers on it weren't really reflecting how great it was. So it's been really great to see that they're starting to do that a little bit less, get in the box a little bit less, force teams on the odd man advantage a little bit less, and they're just doing a great job of that. If they can keep that up, it's going to be really, really hard to beat these guys, because it really feels like that's the only opportunity you get to score against Michigan State is 4v5.
Yeah, sorry if you saw me make some weird faces. The
No,
paint
it's
finally
only
started
good.
getting itchy, dude. I'm fighting it. It's really bad.
It's only good, man.
Every part of my face is so itchy.
I can bet it's probably really uncomfortable to
It's
have,
pretty rough
bro.
now. I'm starting to feel the sweat
I
under
can't
it.
imagine how girls just wear it all the time. I feel bad. I feel so bad. Like, how does the weight feel on it? Like,
Oscar, I got one more question. I'll save the other one. The other one was going to be, I don't really understand the whole Minnesota Duluth versus Minnesota thing. It is in the same system, right?
Yes.
It's weird that like a satellite campus is better than the main campus as a sport,
it
right?
is so interesting. So UMD, they have Minnesota in general, all of these Minnesota schools have a really great history of hockey. We look at Minnesota State even. Mike Hastings, who is currently the Wisconsin coach right now, he used to coach for Minnesota State and led them to a lot of tournament appearances, a lot of Frozen Four appearances. Really, Minnesota has kind of ran the state of hockey for a long time until Michigan has sort of come in and sort of usurped that or made it a little bit tighter with the development of Western Michigan and now the resurrection of Michigan State so far. But yeah, man, UMD, they just get guys, man. I don't know what it is about this school that like they just are able to recruit at such a high level for hockey players because they clearly don't have the same amount of resources like a Minnesota or like some of these other Big Ten schools or even some of these Hockey East schools that they're competing against. But they're able to consistently get talent in. Obviously, when we look at the Hobie Baker right now, 2 UMD players are the leaders for the Hobie Baker, and both of them are brothers. So it is actually crazy. And they have another one who's coming up too, who also leads the national development team in points right now. So it's kind of insane. They're really able to get a lot of homegrown talent to go there, and that's really key because Minnesota, obviously a great hockey state, high school hockey really runs that state, and so they're able to recruit really well within state, and that just helps so much because of how much talent is in Minnesota when it comes to hockey. So I think that's the real big advantage that they have right there is that they're close to a lot of these kids. But yeah, it's really impressive to see a school like that be able to out-recruit a place like Minnesota or even Minnesota State, who has a little bit more recent history than Minnesota Duluth does. But yeah, it is very cool, and I like that question that you brought up. How
really
a school
shocking.
so small can out-recruit a school like Minnesota. But yeah, it's just a lot of history and a lot of things that go into it, especially in the state of Minnesota with a bevy of high school hockey players.
That makes sense. It's something you never see. I feel that'd be like if the University of Michigan Flint had a better basketball team than the University of Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, that's just crazy.
It's so funny.
So final question for the hockey segment. Great job, by the way, Oscar. Thank you for breaking down all this. Yeah. So my worry, and I want to know if this is a real worry or if this is something that I'm pontificating on too much. They're playing the 3 worst teams in the Big Ten, the next 3 series, going into postseason for a team that has struggled in the postseason. They've lost pretty early in the last couple of years. What are the worries there? Is there none, or is there some of having weaker competition, and then you get the doors blown open when you face a not real team, but a really good team?
Yeah, I think some of the worry is reasonable to be there, especially considering the nature of these tournaments. It's one and done. Yeah. And, especially in college hockey where you're having 2-game series and you have an opportunity every game to get back and get revenge on an opponent, you don't have that when it comes to tournament time. So it just comes really tighter in comparison to like basketball tournaments per se or March Madness where you already know you're playing 1 game a week and you don't see that opponent again for a couple of days. It's a lot different, I feel like, in college hockey when you're going from that 2-game series to that 1 game, just any winner takes all type format. So that's just been a little hard for Michigan State is to consistently string those games together, those 1-game streaks. It just becomes so much tighter. I don't think they're going to have that issue, though, and especially because when they get into the Big Ten tournament, the teams that they're going to play are going to be some of the top teams that will be inside the NCAA tournament. When we're looking at what the Final 4 teams will most likely be for this tournament, you're looking at Michigan, looking at Penn State, Wisconsin, and obviously if we are still the 1 seed, we'll have the bye week, so we'll automatically go to the semifinals of the Big Ten. So the teams that we will see in the Big Ten tournament, I think will have a great opportunity to prime us for the tournament. But it also just the weekend in and weekend out of the Big Ten is just so grueling in and of itself as well. We're talking about one of the second, if not the best conference in all of college hockey. So I think even when we look at the teams that they're playing right now, which are the weaker teams in the Big Ten, these are still really quality teams that have quality players. I mean, Ohio State did even beat us a couple weeks ago in Schottenstein Center. So I think this team is primed and ready, not only because of the teams that they played, even though they are a little bit bottom, but because of the teams they're going to play too in the Big Ten tournament, and especially if they make it to the Big Ten championship, it's most likely going to be a top 3 team or most likely going to be another rematch against Michigan.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's a good point that if you're at the worst in the Big Ten, you're still doing pretty good nationwide. That is a very good point. Well, thank you, Oscar. Make sure that you check out Oscar Henderson, Jackson Vowinkle, Gabe Souza, all on the Hockey Beat. Gabe Souza, the writer, Oscar and Jack, both of the broadcasters. Make sure you check out the Crunch Time with Gabe Souza as well. That dropped last night at 11 p.m. We snuck it right in before the end of Valentine's Day. It's a very busy Valentine's Day.
It's a very fun Crunch Time you did with Gabe Souza.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
I appreciate it. What we're going to start doing is look out this week. We're going to start posting highlights pretty much where it's going to be a much shorter version because it is like a 10-minute video of it. So about 9, I think 8:52 is what it finally ended up being. But we're going to post a 1-minute version. So look out for that if you don't have the attention span for 9 minutes. It's fair. So Josh Lee is back. Josh, you said good news. We're going to be having a broadcast after all, huh?
Yes, we've got some good news. It sounds like we'll be able to get down to Ann Arbor in time for this game, which is going to be a doozy today.
Awesome. Yes, number 13 Michigan State taking on number 7 Michigan. Last time they faced off, they went to overtime, Josh. What do the Spartans need to do to win this time?
Joe, to be frank, they need to play 40 minutes of basketball. Coach Freilich talked about it in their presser against UCLA. They really need to come out better. They need to start playing better. They played a second half that definitely deserved to be in a contest with UCLA, but they played a poor first 20 minutes and they dug themselves too deep a hole, and you can't do that against the number 2 team in the country in UCLA. So today, to be able to hang with the like of Michigan, they've been, honestly, since the game in overtime, they've been on a different path compared to MSU. Michigan State's going to have to play a complete 40 minutes to be able to pull out a big win in Ann Arbor.
That makes sense. We look at the UCLA game, and I imagine the second half, I will be quite honest, I watched highlights. I didn't get to watch all 40 minutes of game time action. Josh, in that second half, did they pull starters a good amount? Because Michigan State won the second half. I have to imagine UCLA was resting a bit, especially that fourth quarter.
Joe, to be frank, not as much as you would think.
Wow, okay. That's good news.
Lauren Betts still played, I would say she played equal minutes in both halves. I know she
really?
Had roughly 24 minutes, and I want to say that she maybe had 14 minutes. 14 minutes in the first half and 10 minutes in the second half. So not to the point where you think that UCLA was taking their foot off the gas. They were still playing starters deep into the game.
Yeah, Lauren Betts standing 6'7". They have a lot of size on their team, which Michigan State, they have size, but it means 6'3". It doesn't mean 6'7". That is completely different to deal with. How was the defensive game plan against Betts? How would you say they did? Or excuse me. Actually, I'm realizing, Josh, I'm not going to make you have to give a full opinion on that. What I want to know is what did they do specifically? Who did they throw at her? I realize I don't want you to come on here have to say good or bad. That's messed up. It's my bad.
I would say that they tried a lot of, when Betts would go out and set a ball screen at the top of the key or the wing, they would flash the big towards the ball handler to try and disrupt any ball movement, trying to find Betts down low. And then when they would swing it down low, they would bring over that guard from the weak side to try and disrupt and maybe get a tip and maybe go off Betts. Maybe they get a steal in that. But Lauren Betts, they can just throw that ball up, and she has just the length and the reach to be able to go much higher than some of the Michigan State players. So it wasn't as successful as they had hoped, but they definitely had a scheme that they were trying. It just wasn't executed to the highest of levels.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these stat lines, Josh, and it's
ridiculous.
Yeah, crazy. The Jokic almost of college basketball. 16, 16, and 5 against Michigan. It looks like Michigan State did a pretty dang good job on the rebound battle, especially considering how outsized they were. Yeah, and 7's not too bad for someone who's 6'7". 4 inches on your tallest player is ridiculous. But we're going to focus on the matchup today, Josh. I'm sorry. I got distracted for a second because that's crazy. It's insane to see.
She's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Like, she is a monster in terms of college basketball.
One thing, they kept her off the rebound battle, but they struggled with every other player. I believe they lost the rebound margin by close to 20. So
wow, okay.
They did lose it by exactly 20.
But not much every other UCLA player.
Yeah, that is crazy. So going into the Michigan matchup, what players do you think you have to look out for on both sides? What are the names to remember going into this one?
For Michigan, I'll start out with them since they're the hosts. Mila Holloway had an incredible day in East Lansing on February 1st. Watch out for her. She's been on fire ever since that game against Michigan State. So I'd watch out for her from a Michigan perspective. And then for MSU, they're really going to have to try and get down low. Grace Van Sloot did not have a great game against Michigan the first time around. I expect her to have a much better game this time around, being able to take advantage of what she does best down low in the post.
How big of a factor do you think Olivia Olson's going to be in this matchup?
Olivia Olson is going to be such a crafty player because for Michigan, each of the three sophomores offer something different. Mila Holloway is the ball handler. Silas Swords is maybe that off-ball player, but that can hit the three. And Olivia Olson can kind of create a shot from everywhere on the court. So they're going to try some actions where they're going to try and get her down low and be able to create something where she can maybe pull up a mid-range jumper. She has a quick jumper, so they're going to try and find ways to get her creative throughout all levels of the floor.
Yeah, for Olson, she has scored over 20 in 6 games in a row. Do you think that streak ends today, or do you think it's continuing, Josh?
It's really going to be up to the MSU guards and staying out of foul trouble. Foul trouble's been a little bit of a tricky one lately for the guards. So if they can stay out of foul trouble, I definitely think that they can hold her below 20, but Rashonda Jones, Jaylen Brown, and Kennedy Blair are going to have to remain patient and not letting her create lanes and create the shot that she wants and essentially getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, and just to check, Theron Halleck is still out with injury, correct?
So, yeah, we actually saw for the UCLA game, she was out of her boot. She was moving quite well, and it was asked post-game to her what the timeline looks like for Theron Halleck, and it looks like she's getting back slowly, but they have no timeline, and they don't know if she's going to be back for the rest of the season or not.
Yeah, it seems like a tough one to predict. Well, either way, Jack Dale, we haven't heard from you too much today. Do you have anything you'd like to ask Josh?
In terms of this, so I was looking at the schedule. We were talking men's basketball. For the last 4 games, men's and women's basketball have been going basically game for game. Men's basketball has lost 3 out of the last 4. Women's basketball have lost their 3 out of the last 4. This is kind of their last big game before a 3-game stretch before they get into the postseason. How big of a swing do you think this, a type of win like this for an MSU team could give them in terms of momentum heading into March?
I think it's the difference. I think today is the difference between hosting regional site, between hosting round of 64 and round of 32, and slipping down to a 5 seed where you're not the host anymore. You got to go on the road and you got to play in a tough environment. So today's going to be really crucial to see where the measuring stick is. If they get a big win today, I think they solidify themselves getting to host regional matches, which is so huge in women's tournament. So today's going to be really important. It's not like the stretch gets any easier. They got to play Minnesota later down the line. That's not an easy game. They got to play Ohio State, who's in the top 10. So it's not going to be easy, but today could be a really pivotal day. If they can get a big win in Ann Arbor and kind of solidify themselves being able to host some regional site games, that could help propel them into March and potentially make a deep run.
Yeah, to your point, Josh, in the current bracketology right now, Michigan State currently sitting at a 4 seed, moved down from a couple weekends ago. So, yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. This game is very important in terms of them potentially being able to host because they're right now being tailed by Kentucky, it looks like. And, if they're not able to win this game and not able to boost up that resume, it seems like this region's going to go to Lexington potentially instead of East Lansing.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's more important for them at this point to try and get some wins on their belt so they can go into March feeling confident. And getting that regional site is just so important because it'll be the first time in a long time that MSU not only has been able to do that, but they would be such a high seed. And if you give them time, some of those players that have been out could get healthy and maybe come back and make a big run. I know Isleen Alexander, she's moving around, and she did warm-ups with the team against UCLA. Theron Halleck's out of the boot. If you give her more time, potentially she can rest and recharge here at home instead of having to travel. So both those things are going to be super crucial.
All right, Josh, any final thoughts you got on the women's basketball matchup coming up this afternoon, 4 p.m.?
Michigan State's going to have to do the things that Coach Izzo preaches if they want to be successful in this game. Defend, rebound, and run. Michigan's a high-level threat on the offensive side. They're going to have to do a good job of keeping Michigan off the offensive glass, and they're going to want to get out in transition because Michigan struggles in transition defense.
All right. Well, thank you, Josh, for joining us. We'll see if they listen to your advice, if they heed it, or if they lose this matchup. But the last one went to overtime, so I think there's a very good chance here. It's not as large of a gap between these two teams as the upper echelon when you see a team like UCLA. There's very similar size between these two teams. Around 6'2", 6'3" is the cap. When you have someone 5 inches above that, it's pretty tough to game plan. Yeah, you can't do too much about it. But Josh, thank you for joining us. Check out Josh Lee, Brian Rivers II on their broadcast today. It is going to happen in Ann Arbor. Joshua Loken, who we got confirmation, it's not Loken, Loken, and Liam Chudler. They're writing the One's Basketball Beat. Great work all season. See you soon, Josh.
Peace out, Josh.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, we got one last segment. It's time for a little Des Confused coming up here. We haven't done this in quite a while. Let me load up some music real quick. How was your guys' Valentine's Day? I don't know if I get to talk about that with you guys yet.
How was my Valentine's Day? Well,
did you share it? Did you share it with anyone, Jack? Because
I'm not going to answer
That's not what I thought you said, dude. I'll tell you after the show.
I'm not gonna.
I think I know what you
I'm
thought I
going
said,
to
but...
plead the fifth on that one.
Secret.
No, I didn't. I did not do
It's okay.
that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it was cool. I know a lot of my friends that went out, and a lot of bars were doing, a lot of establishments, my apologies, were doing stoplight parties, which, if you don't know what a stoplight party is, I'm not going to explain it to you.
Oh, is it that stupid green if you're single, yellow if you're...
That's exactly what it is, Oscar.
Oh,
yeah, and I personally, me and my buddies
me.
didn't really want any part of that because there's nothing funnier to me than anybody going into an establishment on Valentine's Day with the mindset of, I'm going to find the love of my life tonight in Riv. I'm going to find them here on the Dublin dance floor. I'm going to find him here tonight. Obviously, that's not really how that whole thing works at all. No. So we kind of just stuck in and stayed in. And actually, a lot of my friends were gone because of the extended weekends. So
there's so much I want to say right here. And I can't say any of this.
I would love to see that love story. I think we could. That could become a great movie. Finding love in the Dublin dance floor at the Luha's bar.
Yeah.
Come on, man! This would make for great cinema.
Yeah.
What do you mean? How'd you get in here?
Let's move on. I got too much I want to say here, and all of it is
I don't think you're allowed to be in here, man.
All of it's against FCC violations, sadly, but this won't be. This will be a lot of fun. Des Confused is back. It's been quite a while.
Back.
Yep, we are back. Let's see if this is the right side. I really hope, because.
I like this.
All right, this will work. All right, you all see the makeup. I am a clown today, so we're going to go on a little history ride about the history of clowns. You're all going to tell me whether these are real or fake clown facts. Yes. Me and Jack David talked about this. I'll say it while we got the music around in the background. Oscar, what do you think of a call for Cohen Core on the road? He slams down a dunk, hypothetically, against Purdue. You say the carnival's in town.
The carnival's in town? Oh, I kind of like that.
Not too bad. Jack David
it's not too shabby.
Yeah, Jack David did a very good job with that. When I mentioned carnival as a possibility, Jack David said a road game, carnival in town works perfect.
Especially since carnivals, they started as kind of and they still are a moving thing. Like
yes,
they
exactly,
move around, so I thought it was
I'm trying to think of something like with car and train tracks as you guys are going to.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
because I don't want to go the flight route.
Yeah, exactly. Flight's already been taken.
That's already been trademarked.
Yeah, air's been claimed by Jack Steger.
Airspace.
Do you think he's going to get any royalties for that?
I don't think so. No. I know. The craziest part is every broadcast that you listen to on TV, they say Flight 55.
They all mention it.
They never know where it originated from, though.
No, never. It's crazy.
They'll never know.
And the color guy will repeat it like 50 times. The color commentator to clarify, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yes, crazy. Every single time.
Gotta be at least $100 in his pocket right there every time.
Every time, right?
It should be at least $100 in his pocket.
If it's mentioned on Peacock every single game, it's crazy. Yeah. But yes, the color commentator loves bringing up. No matter who it is, it can be any color commentator. Yep. They get brought up.
They love the nickname.
They love Flight 55. There's some times where they shoehorn it into places that doesn't even fit. It's the funniest part. But Jack Steger is the man who created that motto. Make sure you remember that. So now we're going to see if you guys can figure out some of these quizzes about clowns. Quiz about clowns, to clarify. So, for a very famous clown, I might as well have this music going on slightly in the background. It's kind of nice to hear in the back. So, for the most famous clown probably of all time, Ronald McDonald, Everybody knows Ronald McDonald. He works at McDonald's, of course.
Yep.
He helps out children, the McDonald's Foundation, the Ronald McDonald Foundation. So, was he or was he not created by a man who used to play Bozo the Clown, one of the other most famous, a radio host who used to dress up as Bozo the Clown? Did he create Ronald McDonald?
I could see this because knowing how, the whole McDonald's thing was created, it was kind of bought by big business, no? So
It was bought
you could think
yeah.
a big business guy would go to another big business guy to talk some big business and create Ronald McDonald.
I would think, I like your point of, if you guys have seen The Founder, basically McDonald's was a kind of, not like a mom and pop shop, it was kind of like, it was like a local kind of family business, and then big business, aka Ray Kroc, came and just bought it up. So I like to think that big business saw Bozo the Clown and said, we want that. So I don't think he made it, I think they ripped it. Not like ripped it, because it's not like he has a trademark over being a clown, but they saw the success of Bozo and they're like, you know what, we should have a clown, and now Ronald McDonald is the most famous clown.
I like your reasoning.
I'm gonna go opposite reasoning here. I think they talked about it. I think
Do you think
Bozo and Michael Keaton had a conversation.
I
with
think
each
you're
other.
overestimating the big business of Bozo.
Maybe I am. But I'm gonna give Bozo the credit of the doubt, or the credit here, and I'm gonna say he helped create it. He was the one who came in.
So it was Willard Scott who used to play Bozo the Clown. He was 6'3". He was a radio broadcaster, 290 pounds. He was the original Ronald McDonald. Yes, he's the one who made it.
He is.
Yeah, he pretty crazy. Yeah, he
That
used
guy
to.
chose Ronald McDonald over playing on the field.
Yeah, I know,
6'3",
right? Yeah, he's
290?
a pretty huge guy. Yeah, pretty easily.
That's an O-lineman right there. You gotta protect Drake May.
Don't know something crazy. You started working at NBC as an announcer at 16.
Whoa.
Yeah, and
Oh, you can't do that anymore.
no, that's you can't
do
do
that anymore.
Well,
unless you're nepotism, pretty much. That's the
Exactly.
only way that you get into a position like that. Yeah, they joined the Navy. Wow.
crazy.
Yes, very impressive. So, going off the Ronald McDonald one, I got one more on him. Was his colors not based off of mustard and ketchup? He is yellow and red for burgers.
Oh, this is a good question, because they could be, or they could just be based off of the logo. I'm gonna say they're not based off mustard and ketchup. They're based off the logo.
I'm gonna go with that as well. I don't think it was off mustard and ketchup.
It was a theory I had. I couldn't find anything on it, so it was not. Sadly, it was
Dang.
yeah, it
I
would
like
make
to think
sense. You
that
could
it's
see
based
it.
off both.
You could see it because yes, the golden arches, of course. Yes, it's a good point. But you would think maybe a hamburger mascot. Maybe. Yeah, you never know. All right, so moving on. Another famous clown, Bozo the Clown, who I just mentioned ago. There is a very famous video of Bozo the Clown called Bozo Dubbed Over. True or false?
Bozo dubbed over.
Oh gosh.
This doesn't sound like it's a very good video.
I'm gonna say there is a famous video of Bozo the Clown, because I think there is, and I don't think it's dubbed over, so false.
All right, Oscar?
I'm gonna go true. I know the depravity of the internet. I know this is somewhere in existence. Give me true.
Yeah, so to be quite honest, finding clown trivia is harder than you expect for some reason. So what it was, have you ever seen I Think You Should Leave?
Yes, I have seen that.
Very funny sketch, and I Think You Should Leave, where the guy comes in, everyone's showing funny viral videos, and he doesn't have any, so he goes home, and he makes a video called Bozo Dubbed Over. And when they're in the meeting the next day, he goes, oh, look up Bozo Dubbed Over. And they go, there's 2 views on this. It was uploaded 15 minutes ago. Yeah, that one.
It's awesome, man.
But yeah, very funny.
Have you guys, I was going to say, have you guys seen The Chair Company from Tim
Yeah,
Robinson?
yeah, very good.
Oh, my
very
God.
good.
I feel like no one else has watched that show because it's just I can't explain it, dude. Like, it is the most random show, like the most random popular show that feels unpopular ever, bro. Like,
I will say
it is pure madness.
I have this clip pulled up on the computer. Watching this without audio it's very scary.
Yeah, horrifying.
I did not know Bozo looked like this.
Oh, terrifying. Bozo is a genuinely scary creature out there. But yes, no, Chair Company is great. You're not going to tell anyone that I brought the outside wheelbarrow inside, right? so many good clips, yes. But yes.
You're too obsessed with the slingshot or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the zip line.
Yeah, you're too obsessed with the zip line. No, I'm not.
Yeah, he just treats it too hard. Shut up, Dave. Yeah, so funny. Yeah, very good. But yes, moving into the game. So far, you guys are doing pretty good. Actually, very good here so far. I appreciate you indulging me in this one. Next up. So, clowns, they originated back in Egypt thousands of years ago. They were originally court jesters almost. They're forced to use clay, all that type of stuff as makeup. True or false?
Egypt. That feels way too early. That feels way too late. Or way too early.
I
say more Victorian.
I absolutely believe that clowns were like derived from court jesters, but would court jesters be? I'm going to say false. I think court jesters were a little newer of a thing. I think they probably started in like England, like true like Anglo-Saxon like period area.
I'm gonna go false as well. I think that's a little too early for the whole jester clown thing to start. Because when I think about it, I do agree. I think more Victorian Anglo-Saxon era.
So technically, it is true. Funny enough,
Wow.
Wow. But it's not the clown that we know today. They didn't wear the white makeup. They were bald. Funny enough, I was gonna get a bald cap. That got lost in the mail too. But yes, they were bald. They would imitate gods, which I don't know how I would ever do that in Egypt. That's a crazy move.
I don't think that's like very allowed in Egypt.
No,
I think
like
they punish you.
The
for
worst
that.
choice you can make.
Badly.
Yeah.
I think they take out your organs for that back there. If I'm remembering
genuinely,
correctly.
right? Yeah,
I think they genuinely do that.
No, So it is real. I don't know who would be confident enough to be a clown back then, where everything is terrifying constantly.
A lot of confidence.
Yeah. So 2 more questions. Second to last one. The father of clownship considered modern clowns today, Joseph Grimaldi. He was the one who started the white face paint. He got everyone into it. And yes, everything started from him. Another man named Joseph.
Joseph Grimaldi. The name sounds familiar. Not like I am up to date on my clown.
Yeah,
history,
yeah.
It sounds familiar. I'm going to say, just because I kind of recognize the name, true.
I'm going to go false because I feel like I would recognize that name from something else. No?
So it is true. I thought there would be a Grimaldi family circus, but I can't find anything on that because, you would have think that would be more widely published. All right, we got one left. Final clown-related question. There used to be a quarterback for the New York Jets who fumbled against his own O-lineman's butt. Is this true? Name was apparently Mark Sanchez.
And funny enough,
I do recall.
And funny enough, that is not the biggest clown moment of his recent life. Well, there's something he did recently that is definitely worse than that.
Even more clownish.
But as I can remember, yes, Mark Sanchez ran face first into the buttocks of a certain New York Jets
If
center.
I do believe there was another clown moment that happened after that in which their kickoff returner got blown up, fumbled the football, and then that got returned for a touchdown after that.
Funny enough,
well.
one of my earliest memories of football is actually watching that game. I do have a memory of watching that game and just thinking to myself, kind of at the same time, wow, the Patriots are so good, but also like, is this the worst thing ever made? Like, is this the worst thing I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes? And at the time, I thought so. And I still kind of do think so, but yes, that is true.
Yes.
Which one do you think is worse, that or the Will Levis on his knees,
That's funny,
hands
though.
behind his bag,
At least
interception?
That's so funny.
That's a good point. There's at least some comedy there. The other one's just so sad. It's the epitome of the last century at this point, last half century, you should say, for last 57 years, I believe, is what it'd be for the Jets.
It has been the laughing stock of NFL football. I don't know if it will ever be forgotten until the Jets win a Super Bowl. But until then, even then, I think it still might be played over and over again. That might be when it's played more, actually, if they ever win a Super Bowl.
The fact that happened against the Patriots, too, a team that has just dominated you for the last 2 decades. Excuse me, I keep saying centuries, dude. I don't know what's going on here.
Should be at this point.
Yeah,
it feels like that long.
Feels like it, yes. Well, we got 2 minutes left, so we're... Excuse me. I just breathed in and almost choked on my own breath for a second there. Today is a weird day. This makeup might be an allergic reaction.
Maybe.
I might walk away with hives on my face or something.
Oh, God.
Yeah, just chemical burns. Apparently, no. I was gonna do more makeup, but turns out some of it can actually get pretty
probably
dangerous.
a good idea.
Yeah. We cut it off here. Still happy with it. I hope that this was enough for this episode. I will still do the clown crunch time because I promised I would wear the shoes. I promised I would wear the funny hat. I promised everything. Wasn't able to deliver. Neither was Amazon over the last week.
Do
apparently.
I have to? Have you started prepping for that episode?
Not yet.
Okay. Do I have to let the people in my life know?
I
I don't know if he texts people in your life.
Yeah, usually I'll make some calls. I called Gabe's. Yeah, I called his old place of work, the country club he used to work at, and the guy.
Okay. So my mother and my father are not. My mother and my father should not be expecting a call from Joe Jazz, right?
You never know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It depends on how much
Never
info
say
I can
never.
get. Yeah. But yes, we got 1 minute left. Anything you guys excited for this week? Any positive things we can finish this episode off on?
Shout out Jace Richardson for his participation in the slam dunk contest. Always good to see Spartan representation anywhere it may be.
He shouldn't have been forced into that, man.
Why is he doing that, man?
We can get into the whole how the All-Star game should probably be abolished and get rid of because that was terrible.
East versus West. Bring it back.
We'll see how.
Are we on the air
goes.
next week? We're not, right?
So yes, next week we'll sadly not have an episode as there's got to be a men's basketball game versus Ohio State. Made it all year without one, which is too bad. But
are you guys doing the Rutgers game?
Yes.
Okay.
I will be back in time for that.
For me, since that's actually going over spring break, the next time we are on the air, I will be done being an IZZone member.
Wow. Really?
Which, yes, because we play UCLA on Tuesday and then we play Ohio State on Sunday. So we have back-to-back home games.
Home game.
And that will be the assumption is that's going to be the IZZone.
Are you not going to be there for senior night?
That's over. I hope they move at least the IZZone part of it because isn't that over spring break?
So do they not do IZZone over spring break? Is that how it works? They over breaks? There's no.
I don't actually know for sure, but my assumption would be over spring break.
Seems like a weird choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I would think, at least for the IZZone stuff, they would do that before because, that Rutgers game that I mentioned, that's on March 5th.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody.
Which is a Thursday, maybe like a Wednesday. I will be in Scottsdale. I will not be in Michigan.
Wow, yeah.
So, I will be, which is
That's
actually
sad.
really sad to think about. But,
rough schedule breakdown at the end of the season. 3 of the last 4 are away. Yeah, that's tough. That's disappointing.
That's tough.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
Things will live on.
Still exciting.
Next time Jack David is on the mic, he will no longer be a member of the IZZone.
Which is
sadly.
that's really sad, actually.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But other than that.
Wow. And then that Michigan matchup on March 8th. Yeah, we'll have a short episode maybe that day. But next few weeks are going to be weird. Definitely going to be weird. We'll
absolutely
see how it all rolls out. But yes, and then NCAA tournament comes on, or hopefully I'll be able to be with you guys. But at worst, I'll be calling in. So
at worst,
make sure you enjoy the next few episodes of Green and White. We don't know exactly how too many of them will go.
Green and White always gets a little
figure
tumultuous.
This out. Around this time of year.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We'll be fine. We'll survive.
Yes,
we'll survive in advance. So make sure that you tune in. Not next week. But tune in next week for the men's basketball call versus Ohio State at 1 p.m. sharp. Similar time. We'll have a pregame show going on to replace some of the time in your car on your way possibly back from church. I realize not many people work on Sundays, besides us. We're the only ones doing it, apparently. So, for one final time, until the next time we see you, it should be about 2 weeks. We won't be back next week. I will not be here, actually, on the 1st. I'll be down in Florida.
I will be here.
So, I will be back on the 8th. Oscar will hopefully be here on the 1st if we can schedule a few things together. Jack Dale will hopefully be here on the 1st if we can schedule some things together. Won't make you do a one-man show.
We can maybe get some other people in here.
Yeah.
Some new green and white blood from next year.
Oh, yeah, little Gabe Souza maybe.
Maybe Gabe Souza, Jack
appearance.
Lowinkle make an appearance.
All right, we'll see how it goes. But for one final time, until I see you in about 2.5 weeks, this has been the Green and White Report. The clown makeup has been worn. It's done. Watch out for crunch time. I'll be wearing it one more time, sadly, because it didn't come in the mail soon enough. But yes, I've been Joe Dez, joined by Oscar Henderson, Jack David, Jack Stager from the men's basketball beat calling on the phone, Josh Lee from the women's basketball beat calling on the phone. Make sure you tune in to WDBM East Lansing 88.9 FM at 4 p.m., maybe a little bit before for the pregame show. Michigan State women's basketball taking on number 7 Michigan. We'll talk to you soon. From the Green and White Report crew, stay safe, drive home carefully, and stay warm. Talk to you soon.